Hi everyone, it's Keely here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for the first video of 2023. I hope you all had a wonderful festive season and a very happy new year to you all as well. Now, the first video for the year is a remake soap, and it is my Seashells. I have done it several times on YouTube before, so if you want to watch a full video of me making this soap, I'll leave links up in the top right hand corner so you can go and check them out. Otherwise, the actual main soaping part of this is going to be all set to music. But the reason I want to bring this video to you once again is because the last time I made my seashell soap, I got lots of questions about how I was creating the colour that I was using for my seashells. Now, it is a combination of mica colours, and at the time of doing the last one, I just used the very last of one of the colours that I used to create this colour. And it's taken me a little while to find another colour to actually use to get the same sort of effect for these seashells. Now that I've got it, I'm going to take you along and show you how I create the colour, not only for my seashells, but also for the sand that goes in this soap. Now, something I don't mention in the video is I actually use two different seashell molds. This pink one I have had for many years, and then this grey one here, this is one that I actually have available on the Pimp My Soap soap page. And the main I actually do prefer this white greyish coloured one. The shells are just slightly bigger. You can see that the mold is actually just slightly bigger each way, and this green one, this grey one does give a much better definition of the shells than what this pink one does. So if you are looking for them, try either pop over to Pimp My Soap or try and get these grey coloured ones, because they do produce a much better shell with more sort of pattern and definition in them. But without further ado, let's go and see how I make the colour for my seashells, and then we'll watch how I make the seashell soap. Let's go. Alright, so there is no one magical colour that I use to create my shells. It is a combination of colours which I stumbled across purely by accident one day. First thing I'm going to start off with now, I'm going to give you the names of my Micro Obsession ones, but you may be able to find similar colours in countries that you're in. I am going to use some Resplendent Mica. It is quite a deep and rich gold with a slight sort of bronzy tone to it. Now, I don't have exact measurements. I just throw some in the jug and see what I end up with. I'm going to start off quite small with my gold. I'm only making 80 grams worth of soap here for my seashells to start with, so we're going to go for very small little bits of colour. The next one I'm going to use, I've got this one called Vintage Rose, and it's kind of a dusky pink, and it's got a slight gold tinge in it. And I know that sounds so weird, and I have tried leaving it out and it just doesn't work. There's something about adding this pink in that gives it that sort of more realistic shell color, and again, it's only a tiny amount. And then to finish that off, I'm going to give it a bit of a squirt with some titanium dioxide, and again, not much because we're only doing a small amount. Now, I wish I could give you the exact measurements, but I just don't measure it. I put in what I feel needs to go in it. What I'm going to do is go and pop about 80 grams worth of oil in here. We'll mix it up and we'll see what sort of colour the oil gives us. Okay, so I've got my 80 grams worth of oil. Let's get our stick blender all plugged in. Now, the titanium dioxide's not really going to go in too well because it is water and we've got oil, but it will give us a rough idea. Alright, so you can see now we've got that sort of really light seashell sort of colour. Really like it. It does have that slight pink tinge, but also has that goldish tinge in there as well. So let's get the rest of this mixed because I'm really happy with that. Now, often when you put your lye water in, the colour will lighten up a little bit, and that has lightened just a little bit too much for my sort of taste in a seashell. So I'm just going to add in the tiniest bit more of this Resplendent gold. So I'm really happy with how that has come together. It's time now to get it into the molds. Now, rather than trying to pour this into such small cavities, which can make a really big mess, I'm actually going to use a piping bag. So this is a really good trick whenever you've got small molds like this, or even if you're doing something like the kids molds or the little ice tray molds and your soap is getting quite thick. This is a really good way of pouring your soap so that you get nice sort of even soaps without air pockets and things around it. So I'm just going to pour all that into my bag. Okay, so now that I've got that in the piping bag, it is time to get them into the mold. So I'm just going to grab my bag here, fold it in, and we're going to cut just the very tip off. We don't want it too big, otherwise it will come out too fast and it just won't be nice and easy and will still be messy. So I'm literally just going to cut off the very tip of this, and then we're going to start piping them into our shells. So my shells are now all in the mold. I'm going to leave these sit here and then we'll unmold them and we'll finish them off with a little bit of mica. Alright, so now I've got all my seashells done. They're looking really good. I ended up doing 3 lots of these and I had half a lot from a previous soap, so I threw that in here as well. I'm going to have way too many, but that's okay because I put any excess embeds away to use on future soaps. So let's get into doing this one. Now, I have done my seashell soaps a number of times over the years, so all I'm going to do is set this to music and make it and then bring you back for the actual cutting. Before we get into it, on my base layer, I always do the pumice exfoliant as a sand, and I have that exact same color combination in this bowl as I did for my shells to create that sand look. So let's get on to making my seashells. We're going to be making a slab today as well because this one is super popular in summer. So before we get into cutting that soap, I don't think I've mentioned these before. You've seen my loaf molds, which I had from off of Seashells Soaps and Cutters, but they're also doing these awesome slab molds as well. I've always wanted a slab mold with a liner. All my others I've had to do with paper. This has made making slabs so easy, and the thing I love about this particular one, I can do both my standard size soaps in here just by not filling it up so much, and I can also do my luxury bars in here, which I make taller and narrower, and the width and depth of this, it just fits both of my soap designs perfectly. Absolutely love this slab mold, and getting them in and out is just so easy, and the silicone liner just perfect for getting your molds out. Let's go and grab one of these seashell bars. So that is the seashell bars. Absolutely love the color of them seashells, and then they match that sort of sandy bottom on here. Let's cut this one open. As I said, I have done this one numerous times before, and I pretty much pour it the same way every time, so we should get a very similar pattern to the previous ones. The difference between this one and the last one I did last time, it was kind of in the cooler months, and I added a really dark stormy blue to it. This time I kept to that nice summery light color. Let's take my end piece off, and that is the inside of my seashells with those perfectly colored shells on the top. So absolutely love this soap. My customers love it too. It's just got that real gentle exfoliation all the way through it. So that is how I make the color of my seashells for my Seashells soap as well as my sand. I hope you have enjoyed watching how I did this one. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up, any comments down below, and until the next video comes out, I hope you have a good one. And I will see you then. Bye.